de free yoko e de akoma national security se sikano se mo pese mo hu se wono nkwa no di ye de enyo no kwa no di to achechim ba bia sikano nyina ekokoye eno so eho asem e wo pono so na afenso save the judiciary demonstration a course so e say Afenyo Markin Ghana Police Service head on ono si police ni abono video no so e ba che Afenyo Markin na ball post ni nasum enti aso say post ni na di kan ball no say for now no de ene me say after investigation say na ebehu asem na kasa said ye see ATM this and other issues hu hia see edi hu nkomo no na na no pay ye tena se na ye di hu nkomo meni abema Ivan Che Innocent wo aha liso wo enso enche obejoin ne yen Innocent bokọ de
ya me adom ya
nyame ase obika ye say sunsumpe na emre
for God and country
chada bia na otumi se body no abre na so oye ho hwie enye enu ase me ye late kakra because na the wa mabre no afedia me si me ye dan yan so say me ko adwumanti no say me sorry
people are waiting to hear from you you sometimes ka wonko an ka won but you can't afford to disappoint them that is the thing
and it's Innocent abaye share yeah issues no as me sure say yeah started with 120 days no ye wi ani abed one issue no eso pa obejo ne enche na fair the conversation no so far so good 120 days social contract 25 policies and our president say but so far MC why 25 is in progress our must say one more and right boss will be the train your take on 120 days no
yeah I think na mention what here for na menka say 120 days of President Mahama in office even if you take out the numbers now had the atmosphere in this country how some so far no the 120 days of his governance has been able to inspire certain confidence and hope in even the investor community. And now has said the citizens are stabilizing this kind of way. Clearly, even if you don't like politics, if you don't like the government to cry now, you need to cut him some slack. Indeed, there has been a significant change happen in this country. And if you go on various platforms, so where comments people are making about Ghana, I can right track because the 120-day social contract estimate out of the frustration and the concerns that Ghanaians had prior to the elections. Yeah, Kotuabano. Na Ghana for bebre esen ebubonriam because of the way and manner things were happening. We got to a point arrogance about the signature way na underpinning politics in this country. Where you see executive man for the two mom were taking decisions those decisions were seem very unintelligent and very foolish, but we are Ghana and you can't say nobody will listen to you. For instance, the E-levy Brohahada came Ghana for in a concerted effort rose against this particular thing, but the Omokachi and say they will pass it, and several other nasty stuff went on in this country. You see, governance sometimes it's not just about it's about how our government is very responsive and receptive to the concerns being raised by the people of this country. So we are buying now. We are being said media metitable mo can metie whatever your concerns are no just bring it up. I will look through and try to do something. And then the Mahama administration the last 120 days a lot of people, even a lot of critics are more marking A, B plus because it's a Professor Day. Or say, even if you are enemy of the government, clearly, because there is no sensible mind out there only what has gone on in the last 8 years. Now, within the 120 days, there hasn't been a dramatic turnaround so far as the entire governance of this country is concerned. For instance, now you can't about the huge size of government. Akufo-Addo made us understand we needed a crowd. Let's say that particular assertion edify existing theory of modern governance talking about efficiency. Go in efficiency where you multitask people. One person can do several jobs. You don't need a lot of people when you pull in crowd into a government space, you only create avenue of inefficiency where people will just take money and nothing happens. And truly, Akufo-Addo could not defy that theory. At the end of the day, his government turned out to be the most useless government in the history of this country, even though other governments are setting up the largest number. So we are President Mahama now sitting in the sideline, now promising the people, say, I've seen big size of government and any impact here so far as good governance is concerned. So I will cut down the size of government. And truly, that is one of the key things that he did. Slashing down the size of government, apart from the economic benefit, I come with such bold initiative, you know, me say it was symbolic relevance to the people, because when Niema were going wayward, everybody was saying, I didn't think Akufo-Addo and downsize his government just to ensure that at some point in time, Oko Jubilee House, every single person be a gallivanting, be a huna or a presidential staffer, and these people were taking huge sums of money. People were traveling, allowances, car, and so for fuel. Then as for no more deco. Sanyama Winina came on the states and I financing the inefficiencies and the fancy fixtures of some of these jokers who were just masquerading around the corridors of power. And Wabanas were cutting down the size of government, apart from say what that symbolic relevance, you know, and also feeding into the Ghana for buying what here, because these are some of our concerns, and the government has listened to us. So for me, I think it's a good call. And again, the offer 120-day social contract. Now, some of the basic initiatives that he told the people of this country, say, all of them so far has been implemented. And most of them has to do with significant breakthrough. For instance, now make a coders way, and the world is going digital. Our country try to reposition the young people to take advantage of the digital economy that is emerging. And it's a who training people in IT and as far. We are not only training them to equip them with skills, but rather giving them an avenue to go to the world out there and exploit. Because if you are technologically savvy, you can survive in this digital inspired world. And we are not drawing back, we are going forward. You understand? This Ajumawura initiative, young people, that people have entrepreneurial skills. How do we ever saw Masene? Job creators and not job seekers. And now if you go to our universities, people come out of the university, everybody want government job. How much? An average Ghana has a what take his salary 3,500. Now what's Accra now with 3,500? How can you survive? Now with a Kowara, now with a Bob Brabe now the bebo. Just a chrono now the bebo. You understand? So if you are becoming a job creator, now one kasa in terms of entrepreneur and as a forum, you become something valuable. Recently, one of the private schools. You car 800 Ghana cedis. Then I convinced her to stop because Nensa aye, otimi Nensa ye cake in as a form, and then she agreed. Abandon school no. Now, just say.
No,
the boldness to do that, no, but then I know frame. Jaya says, the cake, and then you could see that within a month, you know, she can get more than 2,000, 3,000. That's what you understand? So if you're able to create job, not a man for job creators and not job seekers. These people will go extra to inspire others and so forth. In creating economy, that's what you do, because you see. The economy a grow a aggregation of all economic transactions across the country, both private and public, and coming together to grow economy. When transactions is changing hand and as far and a grow economy. Now one person here where we are bank account more. So for me, I think John Mahama has so far set the stage, and some now catch the Ghana for so by he's working. Some of them are just implementation, though we need to monitor their progress. But for me, I think significant portions of those promised, because he was very specific about 120-day social contract. And for me, for instance, this levy betting now one of the major concerns and I Ghana for because me send this sikama way better from your bank account to wallet, from wallet way this near my way na a man for and take part in this digital monetary from 90 but some of these Ghana for you could see say I am ready, say I will listen to your concerns. I am very receptive to the one of the more party. And again, one of the key also has to do with institutions then as a former Chief Justice Sharia by Asemia. Yeah. And near man Ghana for it to about to reset, Don't forget, it's a key component of it. The institutional weaknesses and to the sense that we got to a point that all major state institutions, when were cowed into subjugation, operating at the behest of those in power. Because court, for instance, there are some court not a favor government that swiftly the Chief Justice will empanel. Say any other institution be police for am for demonstration be na yakotwe bagu omo so na ye bro am for chairman for go form Oliver na na se for on several occasions slept in police custody na se for they were denied bail omo nkoku nipa omo nko wi abayere the word that they did ni say nkrofo bi omo wa aban no mu e2 galamsey say ye nsase enti ye demonstration jail e what I say but then these people, demonstration, actual petition, the common president. And I make I say these are a bunch of shameless cowards. Nobody should take them seriously because in just few days ago, not nipa intimidating demonstration will chroma same. But now a certain atmosphere has been activated. A spy hope once you are operating within the remit of the law, nobody will come after you. So if I'm sitting here and I'm judging President John Mahama by his 120 days, I can say so far so good and personal decision regarding some of the things that he's taking. For instance, with this code of ethics here, do you know that aspect is sitting in our constitution for so long? No president has even looked at it. So at the end of the day, people get to high offices of government and they think office in your bona fide property. People become so much arrogant to the extent that nipa no ya wadam for crying no who now kasanwa because all of a sudden when you to me. Yes, that is how your friends say unwitty some of these people are. But I was setting up these red lines. Now catch the people say office in media mamono. Central to everything that you do is humanity. Don't speak to people in a way on their nerves because the government must appear good in the eyes of the people. Because my guy just said it is the goodwill of the people that will sustain and fuel the sustainability of whichever government. And we are pointing kasa boom boom boom. Who did the amount for them that kasa fee about radio so that arrogant speech in as a form man. I know the day a government and I wouldn't any from because a meraba Ghana for the catcher say enough is enough. So who be look at what happened in Akufo at the time. Not because the country was going that bad, but the attitude, the intransigence on the part of those in power. As someone bombed me, be a monarch Kenyans, as someone children, Panani party TV, so can pass some sabi. When you do these things, another day you get people angry. Governance, me say the central key is humanity. So it's a Nipana Bao, also a Pem, Wana would Nibia, Kankasa, don't insult people. Who obi frauna say your friends have why you busy? You can send a person a text message. I'll call you back. Those kind of because of what you there, man. Obi am a frau. Once you occupy a position, people will come to you. It's natural. You understand? You need to grow and become a mature person and know how to deal with some of these things. And if you cannot do it, just get out, go home. What you fear? Obi no
private business.
Nobody will come there. But because you occupy a certain position, a position in the dini peba that is the mistake people do. If you are sitting in an office as a CEO and people are coming to you, they are not coming because you are the CEO. They are coming to the office CEO because you as a person in there, you can go and come anytime. And the office, there is no single officer who occupy or now. Now even the presidency now, President Mahama Babiot in the Grano, Rollins and 21 years, Rollins and whatever. So you must be narrow-minded individual to think that me power. And me some minti Akufo-Addo betina kromo se ya money chenzo na wo hefa okọ party ase a akondwa nam se we su kra note so first on na na akondwa di na chi so exactly enti wo ye nipa na se wo ma wadwen eye adwuma na hu say governance power ni nyina is about serving humanity. It's an opportunity for me to be at the good side of people. I think that will be good. So I'm happy President Mahama has looked at this key thing and he should make sure say any appointee be anything be identity the credibility of the government, that person has to be sanctioned. Sabaya Ghana for betting hope say and who things different because you see the scars of bad governance Akufo-Addo on our conscience, they are so fresh and so reminding. So some appointees be and the omo ye no a reminder of those dark way na I know the day no I say yekoya na ye buy and my culture say your democracy the last leg of Ghana democracy Gina so this Domahama 4 years say nema nkoya Ghana for abandon democracy completely. And that is the caution that we need to keep it at the back of our minds. If we don't take care and sustain and fuel the trust and confidence people have in the political establishment, so-called democracy this time around, now we lose it. We will lose it forever. Because look at how Ghanaians are cheering a cool leader in Burkina Faso.
Yeah,
the gentleman is a cool leader. Ghana for some things you just such a situation because you see over the years the democracy try when she am some idiot quote unquote abenya power and omudia bedin se gunu bebre okroma say so people think if we go the hard way and betimi boy but for me I think that's all the best. Why if only we will do it and do it well.
Okay.
But unfortunately in recent times near man kwan fa so near man na se for no doesn't show say sabi Nema be way and we a president you need to realize Bakacha said human being bad. No human being was created to be good. We were created to be bad, but you learn to be good. And this, if you fail to learn to be good, people will collect to their destructive best because that is who we are. So we need to weave framework. Papa, these are the red lines you don't go beyond. You understand? Tetina na emrani hona na yetino. Obetimi da sore those hunting and gathering days, Ofi wakura se na wuni aduana na hu se wunu no owa aduana wo ha. Wotimi koptwa jato ne dan mu na wahye no wasesa ne nua no. That is what they were doing because na emra bibia ni ho. That is the core side and the party. Whenever ho kire wa you will do everything to survive. Even if you have to kill the other guy, you will do that to ensure that you survive. And emrane nhyehyeye and ese da ho. Sebaya obia betena and do your mind na wo hu sa ande ma no and we video framework and structure to regulate human behavior. You should know say every human being has potential to be evil. You need to take away incentives and opportunities and manipulate evil. And by doing so, you create effective laws and red lines. If you cross, there are consequences. Nema akoso okroma corruption and as if the state has been very reluctant in dealing with some of these things. We have never been combative or very frontal in dealing with some of these things. So for the first time, I want to see, and I can say I see different John Mahama this time around.
Yeah, I think
somebody who is very bold, precise, clarity of thought. There is no ambiguity on the choices that he makes in as a forum. Because you see, as president at this time, you have nothing to lose. At the end of the day, people are not going to count the number of houses you have, the number of money you have in your account. People are going to judge you based on the legacy you leave behind. So you need to make that imprint on the minds of Ghanaians. Sebaya Ghana for be fail. You understand? Sadia na nkroma be ye ne obi ade kai no because metimi akoyis lego akotema akohwan menim ba bia nkwa fie but every day the name nkroma ring a bell on our conscience because onya power no wamfa medi nsem hunu akofo ado nya power okroma say no say ye nto nwom this a gentleman all beba power no na man for abra na obekọ no na makola for manya no mbabo no for matwe no because of abrabobone a obebo e okroma say so power no a very powerful tool. Either it will make you famous or you use it to defame yourself, depending on your choices. So as president, I think that President Mahama being president before and having the opportunity to come back and on one kasa tenase no look through the mirror. I know that he knows what to do to survive because at this time you don't allow anybody say Obasami Gugarim as president. Ghana for their minimum appointee bia, appointee bia. No, nobody's looking at any appointee. They're looking at the president. So you need to be very strong, very assertive, very decisive, and very precise. Obedience, you go after. Nipa disika make sure say you the person who face prosecution jailer manenko many profession say government no enye avenue e de kopesika ene umo obi position first question be say a juicy position na wo border wo bia na wo ko bia
obi say had the scan hakra
exactly so the mentality to go and serve is to go and make money. So we need to weave framework. Then as a foreigner, especially this time that a lot of young people are coming with a lot of your friends saying fancy dreams. Then as a foreigner, one check your muye whenever I was a man for sit down by here this or musi and need by your mind seeker. Me say this time round, no, we cannot trip back. So it doesn't matter where you stand across the political divide. We will go after you as a country because a sacred responsibility to ensure, we protect the estate. And we are Ghanaian, your allegiance should be to the flag of this country, to the constitution, and to the people of this country. I'm going to paramount. Anything is secondary, and for me, that is what we need to do.
Okay. All right, my young call Dubuahe, and run a letter now, love letter now, what should I buy a biama security and Saka be patchon. Near woman, medical boss on a panel at the show. Or see 8.3 million was disbursed in September 2024 to provide an unnamed opposition party with communications equipment for election coalition, justified as ensuring stability of nation, national cohesion, and political impartiality. And until or say opposition party be. Almost the 8.3 million Ghana cedis. Emasa opposition party ni say all fan koto equipment. Minimum say yeti Ghana hano abain to equipment ma political party be eti ni baby sefa koto equipment ebe quality or resource. Eti anu hwasem no say 960,000 was paid to the Defense and Interior Committee, and it say yesha Defense and Interior Committee no one no also from 2017 to 2020 they pass act no, and now say one also from 2021 no, and na say na can the Japan chairman. I think 2017 also no na obi mirefi meboni din actual also na no ye committee chairman was so it was say committee no so be hu say sika no mo sa kan bia na say wo mo sa anka bi owi e was say additional 309,000 the comma subsidiary legislation committee no parliament and also Enwasem enonom. Oria was 5.1 million was spent on luxury vehicle 2024 Nissan Petrol and a Land Cruiser. Yeah, just say special aid to the president-elect 2024. Now say special aid for President Mahama Sem working. So 2024 na no a president-elect. And also eka niema or less no eho. And was 9.5 million was for cyber surveillance solution, and Afenyo 6.9 million for Operation Conquered, first counter-terrorism effort between 2020 and 2024. Mr. Dubuahe say, says K, what would be so echo Operation Calm Life. Tama no amo say Operation Galam Stop. Tamani asi yen stop galam say na ekufado ete task force say omo eni asoja fo nkambom no mo enko stop galam say no sika no e won so ebi ekoho owi na waka say one na yere private account na abamu ne de wo mo set sa account no say e bia aban pesika bi hyehyehye ni manum ya no na mo de akoyi free sa account no individual person or sign ayima aban. All right, innocent.
Yeah.
Dubuahe afa the love letter dia benie.
Mama menka say you see agro wa manfo ni so kroma as ensem we don't even need to be discussing some of these things but abanasa because makacho say we media no affizity on sensational news, those kind of stuff. As my brand can hear complete nonsense. This is your friend say in summer we need to just trash it, and because in some kind of nyansa be him, and I doubt every never I'll be very surprised. Because I think it's one of those diversional taxes in a even let's say some now all canon I no correct.
Yeah.
Negate the fact that monies were stolen from state account. Doesn't negate the fact that he cloned state bank account, transfer money from this account to this account, and at the end of the day, no, we cannot find those monies. Isn't it the fact that he bought estate houses? He paid cash $1 million. Has he been able to tell us where he got those money from? And this is absolute nonsense. You see, we invest too much in emotional politicking. So if you know bad, don't deal with the fact. Sway the whole nation to the emotional line, you will survive. And that's exactly what is happening. At the end of the day, National Signals Brew, and your more finance opposition parties to buy is absolute nonsense. And the opposition party, I won't country. Be bold enough and mention who you gave the money to. You understand? Even if you gave the money to somebody, even in the NDC, we don't care. All we know is that we stole money. and we want you to account. The other command, financing. That is not your business. You see, we are not living in a banana republic where monies can move from one account to any other account. Yeah, there is a legal framework where monies can go. Baby, as a sika corner, there's a wood year. Anything outside your mandate, would your mind sika ya we are for. And now say you have willfully caused financial loss to the state. And this guy has foolishly caused financial loss to the state. All that he's doing is to implicate a lot of people. Because the very moment he's able to rope in NDC, communicators, me say, man, then we've balanced the equation. Then the focus will move from Adubuahen, then some more crime opposition. This is absolute rubbish that nobody should even consider. The questions I was is what we need to. Monies were given to you as director of National Signals Bureau. Monies, you cloned and created a separate account bearing the same name. The criminal intent alone can land you in jail. Because you're not supposed to do that. Then the gentleman went ahead to transfer money from this account to this account. What is his explanation? Says state in here is emergency or what state account they will transfer from many. You see, we don't need to give oxygen of publicity to some of this nonsense. See, yes, I need party seminar. Me say on my way bebo. Because people will steal and will always find a way to spin narrative. Sabi about survival. Because never na brante na ya no crash as sabi onim nyansa. And na catch on because explanation ya obai. And the absence of obeka. Sa attach ya na kan yo say why na kan yo. And you manufacture this nonsense, push it to the media, and you want reasonable men of conviction in society to say why are there. No, so what is the motive behind this particular thing? Or beka when ya kasa there why are there na? Because you are not supposed to be financing political party within the operations of winning and Kahon. Again, are you supposed to finance your friends in Parliament? Parliament, who is Sika Mobia, why not the moment, and you were doing as for them. Sikana or the Kokoto estate in as for them. I think so. You see, this thing is absolute nonsense. Focus on the Attorney General. So you see, there be a Ghana General Siciano. Adia ba ko ama Ghana for to abati akufuado aye corruption. And Ghana need every single reasonable minded person out there is suspecting say the John Mahama government will be very radical, very vicious in dealing with some of these ruthless criminals. We don't care how you do it. Once you are within the remit of the law, you make sure that these criminals, these organized criminals, don't get away with their crime. It doesn't matter how they try to spin the narrative. In the coming days, they will be mentioning names specific, trying to accuse and implicate individuals. I don't care even if you give money to John Mahama. I don't care. Because I never do this movie. What I say. So how you wasted those monies in as a forum? The Ghana for you say this Ukoji the Koto surveillance equipment. In the end, you didn't buy. You ended up using the money to buy private properties. And I wouldn't send me Sentino. You did all these transactions using bank account, doing transfer. When you know say this transfer or always leave a back trace. Now say Obia a crack or primary school grab a boss and no way. And this weak-minded person was a person mining said the whole intelligence organization. That tells you how porous this country is. If this weak-minded individual and are now in charge of the national security, it tells you the kind of national security that we had at the time. They are just exposing themselves, and I'll be very surprised if attaching as a person read through this thing and let it out. You see why recent time people are losing a lot of respect for so-called lawyers. Because you see, a lawyer is not about the degree on paper. It is about the clarity of thought, the reasoning acumen that you have, and how you are able to decipher things. Who said, "Never way as a way a reasonable men of society will not agree to this, they will impugn it, and once they impugn it, our integrity will become a casualty." If you are a lawyer and you don't look at some of these things and you think it's just political, we can just spin and throw this thing out there, me, I will see you for who you are, because when I see you next time, I will never respect you. You understand? But unfortunately, the Ghana and Kwane Kaso will be school. They just open didn't want answer. I just saw them confer certificate the bachelor answer. But you can't be a learned or be a very intelligent. You don't need a certificate. When the person open their mouth and they're talking, you should be able to know, this guy is very smart, very intelligent. That is all that you go to you. certificate be do one dance answer. And that just nam no, we have the COVID na nam. What are some American? We really need to be very serious in this country. Attorney General, when's the prosecution delay? Because I Ghana for a channel form.
Yeah.
I know how ready they are. Say abanye now issues of this nature, you toy with it. Now they don't go through with prosecution. Trust me. After 1 year, the government will get dirty. So they need to do everything to ensure that these criminals and several other criminals out there, we go after them. Yeah, it's not just this one. Now, no, make sky training as a form. Yeah. Attorney General should make sure that because these people getting them prosecuted is so easy. Because even how they conceive those stupid ideas, enough to land them in jail. For instance, yes, a sky train. Training the numbers as a cranny, and do more dama. Yeah, over Tenase as a board chairman, the pen and see papers. Oh, Matthias, Yamon Kofa, the Edbefa William Numera, Chrome had trainer from Prime Nibi. So that silly conception of an idea, Nankasa, is enough to land you in jail. And at the end of the day, they went ahead, pumped $2 million into an offshore account. Besin there, sky training your mind. Now, who could jail with her easy? You see, we need to begin to allow people to suffer for their crimes. For instance, now make about the National Cathedral. It's one thing that I buying a giant that I will never forgive them. Yeah. Because we all saw from the beginning. Even young men in this country they don't hold PhD. Yeah. They are not lawyers. Yeah. They are not medical doctors. They could see from their house that this was a stupid initiative that the state was venturing into. We have a real and now India, in terms of technology, one rise to a point and America, most of the companies are outsourcing most of their jobs to them in terms of IT. And to be for a bank, me person me who me bank balance and as for now you route to call to somebody in India or never more responses and as for because those jobs in has been outsourced. Telecommunication companies in as for if you want clarity, they will route the call to other places because these people have become technologically savvy. People are taking advantage. So we are Maya. You train your people to take advantage of the digital economy. Yet the Sikano, yes, the Kosi Cathedral and Yamedia Boniacha, and more Dama Greenway, yet the 12th century, and Fantana has say. That's why I told you, sir. You know, Yakofa or your fans say, Yakofa, we are living in a digital world, and Yakofa Nipa, 12th century, and the Omababe Gum, and Omudin Semumay. And the cathedral, some by a software as a form of mobile, a bank kutupa, and 58 Akoshiagu. I'm who said, yes, yeah, audit and as a single silly decision that was made. Me, it is all about Sikana Yasino, even ideas now. If it is foolish, we need to sanction people for that. And for me, that is what we need to do to set a stage. Say, so we are CEO, we are government, and as the or my baby shall yeah. You cannot be taking foolish decisions. Are those decisions, our high-stake implication on the fortunes of this country and get away because you are CEO? We need to make sure that we punish people for their crimes. So, Attorney General, there, or somebody, I'm telling you, because if he doesn't go through with this prosecution, maybe will be Ghana. I'm telling you, because the heat that will be coming. Regret is your friend said. I'm telling you, because Ghanaians will never forgive him, and I know he will do. So I'm cautioning him, and I'm also urging him, say he should go ahead. He should not lose focus. Some of these things coming up are absolute nonsense. Some of this nonsense being manufactured now will be coming up, but he should be very careful, stay focused, and make sure. A single person be our enough way on him will be prosecuted because that is what Ghanaians want. They want the judiciary to be sanitized. Yeah. They want criminals to go to jail just to send a message to people within this government. Say, that is the fate awaiting you. You see, over the years, people sitting afar are coming to a conclusion that there is a certain collusion between both political parties to steal. That is the impression out there. So if you don't do that, then it will go to your friend saying, you scratch my back, I scratch your back. But we saw how these people stole with impunity, disrespected the people of this country. Make sure say even Ghana for more sika investment these unwitting criminals cannot go scot-free. We need to make sure that we punish them for who they are, for what they have done against this country. Going forward, because idea about how your mind will fail to punish crimes.
Yeah.
Or mind about so we state that there are two things you cannot do: show weakness, show mercy. The very moment you begin to do some of these things, you are done. But Obia will take advantage. Oh, the Muhammad, the Betchay, oh, wait, dear. And Chrome has a assembly now, software now, him for them. President, you can never come to me so a pacho. Because I don't know about that jail. Oh, because assembly and Semuna don't come to me. Now, you know whom and him cry, you will not even come. You will not even come. So, so we need to do that. South Korea, are you aware that I'm president? The whole president. This is not the first time. Previous president because of Samsung way on jail and several other high-stake individuals in other jurisdictions have suffered for some decisions that they made. Bagana how people prison or you hear near or be contomere or hear near or comedy now now people are stealing with millions, and the same poor people in the name of emotion will come and they'll be singing praises for some of these criminals because we are a party for Nippon Yesicano, Nimcro, Nimo, our Bamufa phone craft from Casam, what I say. We need to protect the estate and some of these things. So some of these things, you know, a section of the media will be spending it in a bid to justify for some that kind of false equivalence and as well. But you see, no smart or witty mind out there will fall for this crap. Nonsense is nonsense that has been manufactured just to sway the focus. But I am urging the Attorney General to stay on his ground and make sure, sir, he prosecute these people. The prosecution has started. He should not waver. He should go ahead and do it. Some of these nonsense will be coming about.
Because we run a letter now. The one can once year the transaction between Ghana Water Company Limited and the private account.
Yes.
Because 1.3 million Ghana cedis every month. That is no, that is 1.3, right?
Oh yes.
Because 600,000 Ghana cedis, and there was a for every 2 weeks. To Kaboma, that's 1.3.
Yes.
Yes. And on the one can once because I don't know. Now says Sikano kwa buying accounting.
Yes.
But we no just Sikana no what short check, no what diverted their call in a private account.
Yes.
Services and also internet service. No, I buy there.
Yes. And you see that you no appointee, even President Mahama had a new right to move state money to his private account for no reason, and nobody should be defending these things. I don't know why people are able to find energy and conviction to defend some of this nonsense. The mere fact that the gentleman cloned account and signatory to those accounts account, you know, that is criminal intent, can be established, and you need to suffer for that. So where you transfer money to, say me meti here in America radio now finance me, you cannot use that to wriggle out of the Niema wire. What I say na make say. The mere fact is that Niema na woyano were in direct contravention with established rules of engagement, bad books of the government, and then you have to be dealt with. Simple as that. Baby, as Sikano coin as if we can later do with it. But for me, in some kind of Ukrainian side, because when I was here, say, with Sikano Kotia Israeli company, so how come they never catch and say, oh, the financing way? Sikano move from an account there to Dino Kamwasem, where he was able to pay for those Sikano Kamwasem. Nayere properties are only in her name or Kamwasem. A job Ben and all you come here, or to me, any Sikano. That is why I make a choice. This lifestyle audit, we need to be very, 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 very way. Many property as people are in government today, we should put surveillance on every single individual. We are pushing money to properties they are buying, and their strategy. Most Ghanaian politicians say they will steal money, buy property, and they will put it in somebody's name.
Yeah, often it didn't. So
no.
So tracing it will even be difficult.
About 90% of Ghanaian politicians steal money, they buy properties, and they registered in relative or distant friend their name. So we are say state, and that is why we have intelligence these things. Say state near ready to delve into some of these things. You'll be able to find out and deal with them, and that is the best way. Some of these things for me, I won't fall for some of this nonsense.
All right, my major message is one or two now. Remember Ivan Sobak, Ebenezer, moto wudin de em say e o de shadow tabo ne ye e ma o say no krepa e na mo kano ya Tracy Bensa o say until I see these criminals NPP going to jail Joma Hama you are not doing anything extraordinary. Yes. I swear.
Yes.
Conscious agbenu akosu o say I trust innocent na niaje o say Osi de kobiti na okaye no na ne age ho a wo do ye na Tracy emu de he na amwani abra wosire but I think say Tracy asem na wa chro no deep it to take a deep minded person. Yes. To understand because that na make say Ghana for by a troye no ora na na Ghana for any abra to abado ye me ade to abado na na ora because ye nim se nkofo bi awia yen. Yes. Na te say the innocent ken ye chi nipa no ahya se no obubodi we ka ho said ye be ya ebe yete se onu kwa na nko onye ahio na wodi sika ne manipa na adwen be na tachi da wodi sai sika ho na so ma asefa sika ma obi bo ni papa mu aka we o se ye de to bolam na ade bi ma parliamentary select committee na ade bi ma ahwan yo ye to twere bolam intention nkwampo ye criminal
mememfi no you see we I old playbook.
Yeah.
If you go back to Colombia.
Why me dey anya za no kai e na mo jijimi amebodi na aye kwamsi na asem na ye sei
enye ne okọ Colombia Pablo Escobar days do you know what he was doing? Oton drugs okunipa ye bi onya sika ne wi na ochema ahiafo. That was what he was doing, financing poor people. But it doesn't justify say
exactly the point.
It's an old playbook criminals have been using. El Chapo in the offense in Mexico. That's exactly what he's doing. They will sell drugs to destroy people, kill people. Onyesika na what you feel here ni what me bra $1 million for bobra. But does it justify that?
Not at all.
The money is a crime money. You understand? It does not justify. So the Attorney General needs to sit up. There are a lot of I know be framing. I say 120 days, whatever. They don't care about anything. All that they want to see is to see these criminals in jail. That is the only thing that matters to them. Until that is done, nothing is done. So, yes, because we saw what happened in this country. Yeah, nipa no movie and sen komu yenyansa for crank and now benya nipa onim nyansa no sen wiawo. Now sign edin na na boni so dim krase sem san chirawo. And that pain na Ghana for say these people must go to jail.
All right, John Kwaku Sabi was Ivan is a great guy. Joseph Dawumo. Also, good morning, big man. Yeah, that's say. Yami Inshabo. Oba no wa follow, no wa share. Na odo comment out to us. Any akenkai ediama. Me sure say demonstration here. Di hun koma. Grofo match pass ya wo mukoyi. They said the PMO eye sumbono.
Yeah.
Aha. It says sumbono na ye case because video na ba ya ye nya ye hu bi ne de. Afenyo market the bob post ni nasum. Ba Afenyo market kata or tro ye nra me kan ye no wo say. Posi ni no na di kan ball no na bone bosa na afi na koma loko nyame nkwan collapse ye national service ni bi na bre ni nsuo na omde ne kwotwere edan bi ho e na parliament clerk bi be fa no de ne kwada restroom enye sanko collapse nke beti no aye obituary ene ensema wa tworo bebre nti sa no ono police na di kan ball na na because ye won say after asumbo no onya energy to aso koye de na obeye nti at one point no koda restroom at one point ye bre ni nsu anka wo collapse no
ye joker and I make say you see Afenyo Markin is a joker. You see in some now can he's rather exposing himself. So he's saying say the police officer na born asum na command kayati and I find a din so ko bunus ni na call na oba ba onya hoden ba back na bobo police officer. You see some of these things. You see, you are not maybe not doing so in a political campaign platform is now because there will be a check fact. You obeti me to gum no fa hodi.
Yeah.
The fact in say we are talking about somebody who is a sitting MP, minority leader of parliament. You see a police officer in a uniform. You know the uniform symbolizes authority of the state. The person, you know, because of the uniform he wears, you know very well, say, what we remember, I don't want we MP. What's now on Sabon assume in a video, the best thing you can do is to just apologize to the people. You don't just try to spin the narrative. And you see, that is the old playbook of the MPP. Maybe I sometimes I'm surprised people don't see these things. I don't want an issue. You see how they are spinning the narrative. It's the same thing. This thing has happened. There is a video circulating. I am very bad for his image and then as a forum. Yet he's trying to spin the narrative. And there are dogs within the media who fall for some of these things and they're also pushing it. The fact is that why would a sitting MP attack a police officer in a uniform? A police officer no say nya wona wo ye demonstration ka o ma ho.
Yes.
And now Afenyo Markin is calling for equity.
Yeah.
All of a sudden the MPP as a political party are so patriotic to the sense that they care so much about Ghana democracy. Say Ghana for answering Jina NDC ni John Mahama say judiciary. Now me say since when? Anna or more sense of nationalism and patriotism no since when? Koyatena Kroma in the last 8 years, who said being cross, some president appointees in Niamaya, Kroma saying they did not only threaten the foundation of our democracy, but endanger the very life of our people. We saw overriding tampering of our judiciary. Appointments, individuals are any more quiet for staff, not just the Supreme Court, now High Court, your friend is saying. The appeals court individuals are you do see obiasem na wudi tie nipa kro wi na yabo abasoni atamre da kosi Supreme Court. Whole lot of nasty stuff happened in this country. At that time no Afenyo Markin and co could not save our judiciary because it was okay for them. For me as a young man watching these people from afar, I see said these are fancy jokers out there that nobody should take them serious because we've gotten now no me can say me chiro has say na I'm on social media we said that video were trending. The funny aspect of it and now man for air share but the impact of the message the people are now getting me say generation na you no we don't threaten people me MP and I said me say generation we know I say I'm on for a pet mouse social media now or before no I say mama watakra na man for you on between pan and say tell people why you have to be respected. Tell people why this thing is not good and they should not go there. Don't threaten people. Say say. No, that shouldn't be the impact of the message. So why yes, I now we think that because you are just an MP and for that matter people respect you. You will end up in the gutters because people will see you for who you are. The mere fact is MP and you have the infantry and the power to attack a police officer in uniform, and instead of you to apologize, you are just trying to spin the narrative to make it look like the gentleman attack you. Your narrative doesn't even make sense. It defies logic, it defies reasoning and common sense. Because what's it Obama when you brew and I found out call baby and you could do now buy and also so boni be an answer saying does it even make sense in any way? So for me, I think that these people should be disregarded. Nana Mekacho said the MPP has now become a sinking enterprise. It's a party that is going down. Instead of them to elect reasonable men of conviction to bring the party back, there are a lot of intelligent people in the MPP. And Mekacho said, Obiti said, Boachie Jakone, Sa Adenimo, Wine, Allah, these are men, Utio Monum Kasa, you could see, sir. These are men of substance. These are people who should be leading the rehabilitation of the party, not an emotional stricken individuals who come, they open their mouth and they get people angry the more. MPP by oppositioning, Ghana for are even getting more fed up and angry with the way and manner they are acting because they become so much combative. This is a party that was known to be a party of intellectuals. Mahama Basia, Abadan station boys, Omo Kasao to Kura Otinchana or Osima or Sianfim. But the intellectuals no more party no. All of them have been relegated to the background. And all of them have become insignificant in the affairs of the party. And they liberty quote unquote this bunch of emotional idiots and destroying the fortunes of the party. For me, I care about the MPP coming back as a strong political party to be the opposition we want them to do. You understand? But as long as they continue to allow these jokers, these attention seekers, to continue to dominate the news for bad reasons. Now, at the end of the day, the party will not get back. Opesa what's here? Sanya mama fa to mo so na nse so mo koye thank you to. Unze we na koye se kantwe na meku me we na se for. Ekosi say they've suspended it. It ended up in another big dog fight. Dog bite dog. Kennedy yes, and dog bite dog. Exactly. So this whole thing, you see how. So we are nipa now party. You should be worried. This is a party under Kufuor time high pay to be party of intellectuals and so forth. Na ni nyina san no moboa. Taxi drivers from America and as for no course on back room, but catch us much at university. About university for corners, these jokers came into this country, they stole from the state, and now they've gotten money talking nonsense on TV. Say, men are making sikana, men are making way. You see, they need to come down from the high horses. Arrogance, me say, in this space, our politics, in this space, our governance. Yeah, do you know why people become arrogant when they get political power? Yeah, they be a funny inferiority complex. When you don't believe in yourself, you think that you have nothing to offer. You need external to hang on to become relevant. And Nipano on their own, he knows that he cannot compete. He has nothing to convince you. So, Osikadie and as any other material thing, coming back to complement and taking care of those things he's lacking. Become so much arrogant to the sense that he's not even ready to listen to you again. When people lack wisdom and intelligence, they don't want to engage you in argument. So what they do is they become very vocal and very frontal. And the one in a can't say, he cannot survive. So I say, I don't talk. And the growing up, uko school as a teacher anyway, timo no sane mano, beneath it in most of them. Because they have certain intellectual weakness. I don't even want students to get closer to expose them. It's the reason why when you will not even get close, they ward you off with that kind of behavior, that kind of aggression. And for me, the MPP, those ala nena se forum, ala minim se wajayo so basi yamba and those other individuals, they need to take the center stage and rescue their party from these criminals and attention seekers. Because as long as the MPP continue to be in the hands of these jokers, trust me, the party will go nowhere. But the party need to come back, regroup, and at least act as a reasonable opposition. Criticizing, and for me, tell me what moral authority does the MPP as a political party have at this time to be talking the way they are talking? But this is a party while wrecking the foundations of this country. They've destroyed this country. The economy of this country was on the downward spiral. And John Mahama by within 4 months was a wine. Look at how the dollar has been able to stabilize. What besides how is able to do this? Senka Baumiane MPP pension and Kadi we see and can lectures are hold on more organizing Okrumano and Kenya the Ketua. But here we are once again. People are not even talking about it. The John Mahama is not even celebrating this particular feast. But it's a great achievement. What me here and the city is forum. So for me, I think we need to stay focused. These people are ready to learn their lessons. Arrogance and no power. That kind of unwitty decisions no make at the time. Is the same. Fighting for me, dancer argument team. Now no catch out the Ghana Bar Association. Another group of people, they were just barking like dogs. They were not able to tell you what John Mahama has done wrong, and for that matter, that's what punish you will be. But see, what will be at reasons. And then as you go back to what John Mahama has done. These are a crazy bunch of individuals because you see the power to suspend or not to suspend Chief Justice, the Constitution, the President okay, Article 146 down was or say, see it may establish a premier facility. Now say you set up a committee. The President has the power either to suspend or allow the Chief Justice. That is a discretionary injunction on the President, and only him alone. We are Ghana Bar Association. I was say on resign to me. The one case I said damn the whole team because you should know law. That's what I'm telling you. So as a lawmaker, as a lawyer, you should not be talking like somebody who make coffin. Because no, you want to say fundaka. But as a lawyer, if you are talking like somebody, sabi only way, you know very well that particular President alone. So why will you interfere? He can decide to or not to. But to say you had no court because I exercise just as a damn baby. That is why the association has become some kind of a political movement. So for me, I think we need to focus and stick to the na Ghana for who say a mind by be Ghana for emotional gullible individuals do anything and get away and become way relevant. And Ghana for demonstration almost as you see how they were treated. Nobody took them serious. You understand? So for me, I think we really need to stay on track and make sure near Ghana for deserve the panel. That is what we do.
All right. Bradley Sowell Aba. I cut 10 minutes in your pong. We 10 minutes now. Can the man never be traffic a crook with shame with you. Yamen Kwane and Boafo.
My and say, if we said your mamma bay, would be your freedom into beer Piabonte, come on.
Now the first uncle for P.
First, no Piabonte, petrol way better than what you. It's a man for Pakio cars. Now I'm not joining for cars. Just so that they are able to move about. Okay. Contribute to another. Say, I come one year top petrol. Innocent came one year top petrol. Now this week innocent and the call. Next week now the next our battery be. It is as I say no. No more but they say you will be to me to the car because petrol boaba for me. It goes where I call from dollar ni see to be a come. They say will be a yet more Ghana.
Oh, okay. Instead of traffic
there is too much traffic. If you are drinking not to here, I have spent more than 2 hours in traffic.
Wow.
From a drinker. I just can you John Muhammad and say, yeah, to a swimmer, yeah, can
no theatre. Phil case of the JDM should reactivate the fast track court as soon as possible. This NPP joking thieves must be dealt with ruthlessly. Tracy Mensa was sister pepe. Okay, brother, so your time no dia kan ye de ma we asa. Na edubu ahenete ye a fly ni sika baby o chiche ye bikum ye sure say we bi. So your comment on it na.
I've really treated it with the contempt it deserves.
Okay.
Yes, because sebi mama check for yes you money mo abasoni adwuma so awo na me chia me nua innocent. No so adwuma so awo ye. Akopon manaso. Too intelligent and he deserves a lot. Until I knew that you were having a competent, very competent discussant. Until not just who in Yasa Miss.
There's a watobo.
Let me hear. Now, say a dubois he found Cassa or this canon crack on man,
John Mahama,
and or the year campaign by your president.
And family.
Till I tell you, we as canon. As an Yabetina Cotuno.
Yeah.
I tell you, this can be Boak on Homa, man, even in many a big deal. Into the end. Oh, because MPP ni, not General, at the said yes, Sebi, and collect the agro and Yemua, while Rebecca Sebia, as a man, Pel, someone now. Oh, my Jimmy. What Bocrono and Yatso? Yatso says, Scalogrammy, be and me, my witty. Oh, what can we? What can we know? What of via counterfeits? Not the quarter we were just saying, a shop, just a menisa. I was down. I toy, and I would see one I was sissy. It was sissy now, a posy back. And our more police in this also one rule. And also tribute. Who could do court as a court? Posting in crown or tribute. Like a better than a person who say, a urine and now. This is the question. See, kind of where we are. As to who you get the money to, we don't care. Court, no caucus ask them because I say we catch the judge. There's a judge, you know. So now you have to form to say they're not why do you say judge if we're going to have because of Tokunu or when you know about them. No, corner caucus ask them no court. You know, sometimes they give me a reason to believe why Nyan Sandin Indiano difference nation. I didn't go and Nyan Sanko. Now. Oh, the case as in with the beer for people to avert their minds to one thing, say, no. Wisdom. They could have given any meaning to wisdom or given any term to wisdom than Nyansa. If you don't have it, you can't apply any form of the beer money. Se si ya yetiwe. Se minim Nyansa, a beer, assembly Americano. Make kind of try without recourse to cognitive thinking. Yeah. Common sense. Eti neleto. Ni dey you. E what is say and on my opposition parties.
Because some control machine by election coalition.
Opposition parties. They are part of the governance structure. You can democracy now. Yeah. a multi-party democracy. If they have been beneficiaries of it, show us the illegalities. Then it amounts to your charges. It increases your charges. If you know, say, giving monies to opposition parties is an illegality. It increases your charges. Did you bribe them? If it's a form of bribe, then it means that the one that took the bribe and the giver, they are both guilty.
Yeah.
If it's gifts, there was here about gifts. Say emremuno, I was say taxa. Maybe we can discuss that. But as far as I'm concerned, you were holding a public office. You have been discussed as an embezzler, a thief, a common thief. Your father, Professor Dubois, he was only known historically to have been the good professor. The good old professor died. And I didn't know he was training his sons to be thieves. Thieves. Ne baba ko de Afenyo say yes o mo ye ho adwuma.
Finance ministry.
Serious.
Ne baba ko. E dey say Osafuma ye kronfo, ne ma ya kronfo. Edubu ahe ye kronfo, ne ma ya kronfo. Ekufado ye kronfo, ne ma ya kronfo. Kenoforiata, ne ma ya kronfo, ono so ye kronfo. Bedi atuo ne ba ECG kronfo, ono bedi atuo na mu kronfo. Gabi same. Just say MPP no akwai to say a crime scene. Everything they just come about to do no akwai say no deplete bibia. Yeah, report money of after all yeah property owning democracy. Yeah property owning democracy. Yeah the bibia bia no we should be averting our minds to only one thing. How do we own properties? And omo namna a conservative for the property owning your friend is a Democrats. Jake, no, just a buying sa seni a buy Japadia, and I'm here His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Then the short atame. No good leader would allow for ne subordinates. Say, oh. O manager padi e mon tonton na mon fa na me so mama bi onye se se ya oba ya ni o ma kochiwi te se enra me hwe 120 days awadi now we share the conversation it's as if he's accounting for about 8 or 10 years stewardship. And the accounts he's rendering he is being very submissive to the core. Say he sees himself as a servant leader, and he or answerable to be bia or pledge here, any the one pledge and so why or can the SCA about the obeto ye any baby aqua drew. This is leadership, and you say across MPP the bar bemwa yen ya the calabule kwaso bad report money of the abano e was wo ye krampo sebi ba yenka e blocks ahodo adwoma ma ye to asoma ni wie pay ene ni sika no de ye ene ma melody na ma fi mo mi pa be tin chache ma menchia no papa afi hu no wo ba bia but yes adwuma obo no enya sempeto
so no ye silent you wo hu oshawa wo hu ni ase wo commission
ni say oye obi a oye papa kura na okota na bontia na ne buo
ai menim say yes sa dot
on pesa o si we ma we ade ma we
man we yi hu
nti no why ade kura wo da na se kura no nti mommy ba bia wo bia na chia now so wo hwe ni akoso in the past now the only thing that solved this whole problem. When we say enkofu adina koso na da ben yedi we be kokko da ben yedi we be oh you say opre wo e pause ya mojaba what you say but your mama o te say president kofo e frama odi huhu pade a wonya o say president kofo can say me some time ago o say enso hie enfanipa enso nyinu na fanipa na odi boko eguso e dwa aboa tatia se ne be ya obetimi ayi ne nso enti de me hu ni say on rashe enkoti because Professor Mills buy no not John Kofo careless ajekum Kofo ofa Kofi na wa makot hono maye sandwich kama who dey asem court pa ne aboato agu enti me ofanum kwesi o se je num nyina satam ne de na me tame ofanum aji pa na me nim se me ofanum na omo aya lebe kakranti ti wo se cases ne court ni abrosko
ni aboato agu
ema asabi num de nyina
ya ebotugu yi
e che na professor Mister say oh munya monka na omugya ma ne kai enu na MPP eba abemu biemu no omudi timu po bi ba say ye wi akora na we jo mahama oba huntimi nye
yam pake court
with impunity no yenye de ebetimi na fe no se ko ba kra se na adwen sesa yam pake court no se ne be ya court no ya sen koduru ho a omo ye yan nkofo a omo so ye no omo na committed crimes no because Akufo created a syndicate a Kronfo syndicate or the nebusuafo na yonkofo and hyehyehye baabi a enti asamba sese ya in the case of Kisi Jaben Kisi Jaben ehye na adwuma ase no na gabi hey me na mde okotena ho ye careful ema Kisi bufu no ema ne ye se wo ye na adwuma uni say he was threatened at some point his life was in danger.
Yeah.
He's not able to tell all these things because sometimes he feels it's part of the hazards of the job.
Yeah.
Occupational hazards. His life was threatened 3 months to the election. Now he said that he had to flee out of town because omo pene kunu den. Sisi ya kase nyame na ya adu na bai fofra ba ka kisi ja bi a ko lose in life. Obi ti ba bia na adwen ye ne se na kisi ja bi wonya adwuma. How can you work as obi a wokoche kronfo e we Akufo abem when he the president is was a thief? The one that you are working for no, is the thief, and he has some other syndicates. How could you have worked under Akufo? More than a silent killer. Say you are so well prepared or in a juma. And a month for Yabotre. Maybe say first now me pon call pentem seriously. Say Gadia Chin Yanka Mama and Yamu Street Muniamu Bomb, Papa Mano, the Riania Pamma Kubunsa when we call from 40. What's in a bonny abono? That's also John Mama who say, if we are seeing the Yansa and Yibia. All right. And in India, I can't 1 minute. Manusi no. Muma in Yabotre, media for 2 never say. Yen Yamumi and Yabotre. John Mahama.
Na botano ye dru baby anhwa ye nya biemu.
Oh yes, but say no, enya dru baby e wo say ye nya botre. Umi enya botre. John Mahama, me te say so be bibi e friend national tribunal.
Okay.
E ho no ye du ko gina ho a na atu nu nya me. Because sebi oral over 2,000 petitions.
Yeah.
Akọ oral nim a wabo e chama attorney general, the able and most learned. Before ya no mu dwa manum no mo kasa no mo ye yi mu wo bi a oye doctor te say Dr. Yenia o ni mu mra mu fa ni me kire so an koto certificate ni podi a APP lawyer nyina he o mo koye demonstration o mo certificate o mo toye o mo anko school eti law no mo nim all they know is the judge. They have always relied on the judge enuntina hwe nipa dom a o mo appointment and san omu fra bam illegally no ye yi sankofo bebrebe na di no ade no man ko ye ho demonstration between sankofo bebrebe na ye yi o ma di no so omo do omo party ma na omo pe omo asem a ade na no man ye ho demonstration na tokonu ba akopɛ ye wono wodi ne sa akobo aban sika mu di ni from the sesa bi ma po hini na ko fa ne kra ensie abomu. All right. You know, me di manusi na